Hello, my name is Lisa Florio, and my lesson is on self-cognitive, self-concept, moral development, and the theory of moral development by Kohlberg. I'd like to begin by explaining a little bit about Kohlberg. He was born on October 25th, 1927 in New York, and died in 1987, January 19th, in Winthrop, Massachusetts. He contracted a parasite in Belize, which believed led to his suicide. He did some amazing things in his life. He rescued Jewish refugees and was captured and held prisoner until he escaped his freedom. He practiced and was an advocate for nonviolence. His education led him to psychology and completed his doctoral degree in Chicago in 1958. He entered Harvard in 1968 and remained there as a professor until his death. He appreciated Piaget's work and paralleled his theory to his on morality. Now, let's explain and explore the theories that we will cover. First, we're going to talk about social cognitive. Social cognitive is the way the brain processes or gains knowledge through thought, experiences, senses, and resulting in understanding what has happened. Kohlberg's cognitive development theory is the principal act that a child develops understanding of gender with age. He classifies his theory into 3 stages. Before we continue, let's ask ourselves, how do we interpret other people's feelings? How do our feelings influence our thoughts about someone else? The cognitive theory is broken up to 3 stages of gender awareness. The first is gender identity. This occurs around the ages of 2 years. This is when a child recognizes they are a boy or a girl. They also recognize this in other people. The second stage is called gender stability. This occurs around the age of 4. This theory is that a child understands their gender will never change. They are fixed as a male or female. The third is called gender consistency. This occurs between the ages of 5 to 7 years old. There's no altering the sex. This means that even with cosmetics like makeup, their sex will not change. They are a boy or a girl. Now let's move on to moral development. There are 6 stages to Kohlberg's moral development, and they are broken up into 3 parts. Level 1 is pre-conventional. The stages are 1, reward or punishment. Stage 2 is what's fair. The second level is conventional morality. This includes stages 3 and 4. Stage 3 is seeking approval. Stage 4 is including the social aspect as a whole. Level 3 is the post-conventional theory, and it includes stages 5 and 6. This includes 5, which is social contract, being kind, and number 6, the respect of people and treating them equal. So let's explore the stages a little deeper. Stage 1, this is based on pain or pleasure. For instance, if you're clapping in response to a baby rolling over and show excitement, this is a reward. And the infant will want to continue to do this to please you and to accept the reward you're giving them of the clapping and the excitement. Stage 2 is a bargaining stage. For example, if you make me happy, I'll make you happy. Stage 3. This is around elementary school age kids, and this is living up to expectations, wanting to be praised, wanting to please you. Stage 4 is learning who the alpha is and showing respect for authority. Stage 5 becomes more social and relates to being kind, respect, authority, and obeys laws. Stage 6 is the universal principles. Now at this point, the universal principles are equal rights, rules, and understanding and obeying the laws. So now let's sum up the stages of moral development. First is infancy. They learn how to avoid punishment and appreciate rewards. Next is preschool, pleasing others. Then you have school age, which looks for approval. Number 4, school age also, which is social order and authority. 5, this is the teens' mutual benefit. Number 6, adulthood, morals based on principles. Now let us explore this theory in more depth and move on to Kohlberg's theory of moral development. Now let's talk about the theory of moral development. His theory started from research that he performed with very young children, and it stemmed from Jean Piaget's theory. Kohlberg developed the theory that made us understand that morality starts from early childhood and can be affected by several factors. Now let's explore this theory a little more in depth by stage. Stage 1 is punishment or obedience. This is learning through punishment not to do something wrong. For example, following the law to avoid going to jail. Stage 2 is instrumental relative orientation. This is judging the act and deciding if it's moral. For instance, a child may say stealing for the sake of survival is moral. Stage 3, good boy, good girl orientation. This is judged by social roles and interpersonal relationships. For example, giving away your food to a homeless person. This would be perceived as being kind, or good boy or good girl. Stage 4, law and order. Authority and following the rules. A person's duty is to obey. For example, an officer arresting someone that broke the law. He is the authority. Stage 5, social contract. This is where someone evaluates another person before a decision is made on their morality of their action. Stage 6, universal ethical principles. This is the final stage. This is when the person considers universally accepting ethical principles. Now let's move to the final concept, which is self-concept. Now let's explore self-concept. There are 4 stages of self-concept. The first is infancy, 0 to 2 years. This is the understanding of everyday interactions. Self-awareness. This is measured by knowing themselves by name and knowing their gender, boy or girl. This usually occurs within 8 months of life. They're also able to complete a mirror task. When reaching for his or her own mouth, they will reach for their mouth versus the reflection in the mirror. This is recognizing his or her identity. The second is early childhood, 2 to 6 years old. The objective here is knowing themselves, their characteristics, their physical aspects, and they're very gender aware at this point. Middle childhood is 6 to 12 years old. At this point, the child is more interested in oneself. People that the child respect becomes an influence, and the desires of the child, their goals and accomplishments. The last is adolescence. This is from 12 to 20 years old. This is complete self-identity, who they are, beliefs, personality, and their worldly views. Kohlberg has enlightened us in how our morals are developed and the influences around us that play a part. This can be very helpful for teachers. This helps us in understanding students, their cultures, universal beliefs, and what can help them learn in the classroom. Thank you for your time. I hope this has been helpful.